Core field stabilized. Before they turn up the heat. We gotta move.
What is up, guys? Welcome to State of the Game, the 2013 Holiday Edition. My name is JP McDaniel, and we are down a member, but he will be joining us later. The rest of the crew is here. I've also got a nice picture filling in for him, I think, in pure State of the Game fashion, just making fun of all the other hosts. Tyler, what are you wearing on your head?
They're reindeer antlers.
Like, what?
Get in the spirit, man.
It's a Christmas edition.
If you were a reindeer, which one would you be if you were pulling Santa's sleigh?
Other than Rudolph, because Rudolph is like the only
I
badass
know.
reindeer.
Is it just Rudolph? Is that your
I'd
answer?
be Rudolph, man.
Easy answer. I don't know what that says about you as a person, though. It's got to say something.
I'm a leader.
I guess you're a leader.
I'm the savior of Christmas.
You are the
Those are a few
savior.
things it says. I don't know.
You are the savior of Christmas. What are you drinking? As always, we got to know. Oh shit!
Red wine, man.
Classy red wine. Classy red wine. We've also got DJ Wheat on the show. Marcus, how's it going? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking hippie juice, but only a glass's worth.
What the fuck is hippie juice?
God damn!
Haven't you explained this before and we just
on
didn't?
this show the same year when I was once again the sympathy holiday guest on State of the Game, like
The sympathy holiday
go watch
guest.
the
What?
VOD. Yeah,
What? I don't even.
You're a part of the old boys club. Of
I was
course
just
we had you on.
Yeah, of course
there.
we had you on, man.
uh-huh.
Part of that old boys club.
Yeah.
I think this
Yeah,
is
thanks
the
for having
entire
me.
old boys.
You paid
club.
your dues to the club. It was $10,000 this month, right? So
Yeah.
JP told me it was 12, man. What?
Well,
the
I pocketed
fuck?
it 2,000.
classic old boys club, classic.
Yeah.
movie.
We got you. That goes down to the Keeping Richard Lewis Down Fund, and then we'll just keep adding to that in 2014. We'll just keep winning.
Those spinners aren't going to pay for themselves
in.
on our Escalades. You
Yeah.
son of a.
I'm sorry.
God damn it.
I'll work harder in 2014, Jeff.
Oh, God. Jeff, what's going on? How's it going?
It's going well, pretty well. Just got back from the bar where I watched the Seahawks lose their third game of the season, so I'm a little bit sad, but I'm trying to put on the Christmas cheer happy face.
Who'd they lose to?
They lost to the Cardinals at home, which means in traditional NFL fashion, the last week of the season is going to be insane. The Cardinals play the 49ers for a playoff spot. Winner goes to the playoffs, losers out. Seahawks play St. Louis Rams at home. If they win that game, they get home field advantage until the Super Bowl. So it's and I have tickets to that game. So it was kind of funny. I was telling Anna, like, if the Seahawks won today, the game Anna and I would be going to would probably be the backup quarterback playing the whole time, and nobody gives a shit because it doesn't mean anything. But all of a sudden, this game is like the biggest game of the season now. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Even though your team lost, you still like that.
There's silver lining. That's
Yeah.
what, I've become a master at finding the good in losing. That's what I think. My StarCraft 2 career has helped me learn this.
Oh, God. I'm glad that we've gotten to a point where you make the jokes about your own.
Well,
your
I
own
have
stuff.
to. They're coming anyway.
Is that how you combat it?
If I,
You
yeah,
get in front of it, yeah.
What do you know what you like? There's a scene. It actually got deleted. It's not in Anchorman 2, but it's too bad. In the previews, when he's like, "Hey, what do you feed your beard?" He's like, "I don't know. What do you feed?" I was like, "Hey, don't make jokes off my jokes." That's how I feel, man. Like if I make the joke first, you can't make a joke off my joke. So that's what I do.
There you go. There you go. Also, what
Well
are you
said.
are you drinking tonight, Jeff?
Tonight, I want to send out an important message to all the kids that you can actually not drink and still have fun.
There
So,
you go.
You guys drink, and I will not be a downer on the party. And if we needed to drive somewhere, I could do that, and I would be the guy.
Sick. We're going to get tacos after the
Fucking
stream.
reindeer. If you want to go somewhere.
Oh yeah. We'll have to strap Tyler to the front of the
Someone still
car.
has to drive you, man. Yeah, I got to whip you at the... Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler, by the way, a little bit of history. We were out looking for Christmas presents at the mall, and I ran into the two wolf the Two Wolves in the Moon pink shirt that I bought you a
Oh.
couple years ago, and I thought of you, so I just wanted you to
Nice.
know.
I still have it.
You still have it?
Yeah, saving it for a special occasion.
Did you ever wear it anywhere just for
No,
laughs?
just the one time I had to.
Oh my god.
It's a triple XL pink two wolves kissing with a moon behind them shirt. It's a pretty incredible thing.
What was that bet even for? What?
It was me like having to play some ladder games and get a
Right.
certain rank or something. I think.
Oh, that was like 2 years ago, I think. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about that shirt.
He honored the bet though. He wore that shirt on stage at MLG, so it was nice.
That's true.
Yeah.
On the mini stage, but still it counted.
It still counted. It still counted. Well, I think we're going to talk about a lot of like year-end type stuff, but before we even get to that, Jeff, you played in a match, and I guess you can also start the joke here. You played in a match yesterday against Destiny for some cryptocurrency. How did that how'd that end up going?
It's pretty funny. I've actually played like 2 or 3 show matches with Destiny now, and I don't think I've won a single one of them. Every one of them goes the same way, where like the first game or two, however big it is, usually it's like best of 5. I dominate pretty hard, and it sucks because we play on ladder. I bop him really hard on ladder. I 3-0'd him just before this, so I was like, all right, free money coming my way. But then in the show match, and this is pretty. I mean, it's pretty tragic for me personally, but it's also kind of cool with how beautiful the game is. Like, I overthink things. I destroy him game number 1 in a straight up macro game, just like I have in practice against him. But then in the games 2 and 3, I tried to get too fancy. I'm like, this opening, this timing attack, you won't expect it because like I totally don't do it very often, and then it doesn't work at all, and I die. And then game number 3, I'm like, all right. I'm going to open up with my Void Rays kind of like he's seen, and then switch into a timing attack, and then that doesn't fucking work, and all of a sudden I've lost a best of 3. So I was really happy and excited because as like a unofficially retired pro gamer, I don't get to compete for things very often. I played at like Home Story Cup, and I played at MLG last year, and that's pretty much my competition. I also tried out for 1WCS, I think. So every chance I get to compete for something, to play for money in front of an audience, I really get excited about it. So I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't play particularly well, but I made those mistakes largely in part because I was so excited. So I'd rather make mistakes in that situation than just play ladder for the rest of my life. So it sucks to lose, but it was fun to do, I guess is the point.
Did you get anything?
Yeah.
They gave you a Bitcoin.
Yeah,
right?
so here's the funny part too.
Because
the
that's
The
golden.
day before, yeah, no, I made like $260 or something like that, which is especially around Christmas, that's really nice.
Sure.
But it was funny because the day before, TB's like, all right, so it's winner takes all. And I was like, well, hang on. I'm on Anna's laptop. I'm on her peripherals. Like, I'm not going to play very well. It's early in the morning. Is it okay if we split it? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I laddered that day to continue to try to get more used to playing on different peripherals on a laptop. And I faced Steven twice in a row and destroyed him. I won both games quite strongly. And I was like, damn, I talked myself out of money. And then the first game happens, and I beat him there, and I was all happy and rolling my eyes, like, shoot, I should have stuck with all or nothing. And then I ended up losing anyways, and I was like, okay, at least that was my silver lining afterwards. I was like, all right, well, I won some money at least. So yeah, I got some money.
Good.
And then fucking Rotterdam makes a bet with me 10 minutes later, and I win that. So I actually won about $300 on the day.
Nice. What was the
which is-
bet over? The Scarlet Naniwa match?
Yeah, yeah.
You said Naniwa was going to win?
He said he'll take either one, which is funny because I would have done the same thing. I thought they both had about that kind of chance, and I just picked Naniwa and won it.
There you go. Easy. All in a Saturday's work for Jeff
yeah.
and Controller Albertson. Tyler, I want to talk to you. Back in August when we did episode 100 in San Francisco, we had a dinner, and you had talked to me about this. I guess you can call it a solo career, even though you'd kind of already been on one where you were focusing on streaming and focusing on your YouTube. How's that going? I have not kept up with it, to be honest. So what a check-in here. How's the Noni career going?
It's going all right. There's no like exponential growth, but I think I've got my like loyal fan base that watches my YouTube videos and is always tuning into my stream. So it's going all right.
I guess this is a chance at self-promotion as well. What do you put up on your YouTube? Because I know you said you were
All
trying to
kinds
get
of
involved with
stuff.
that.
Yeah, I'm trying out all different kinds of content, but I'll put on like little highlight clips from my stream of just like a cute little micro play or something like that, or I'll put a whole video up, or I'll talk about strategy, and I made some vlogs, and then I also do just like random stuff from my real life, like when I saw a bear in a tree, so I uploaded that to my YouTube.
Is that the most viewed? How many views
I
does
don't
that
think
have?
so. I'm not sure.
Oh.
I don't remember. I'd have to check.
Well,
But yeah,
well,
it's got all kinds of stuff. I might like, get it more focused when I figure out exactly what I want to do with it and what kind of content I like making and what I don't really like and what the viewers want to see.
sure.
But for now, you can kind of see just like everything. But yeah, the main way for me to promote myself is just to check out my stream, because I think in the past, like definitely in 2012 and earlier in 2013, a lot of my stream sessions were so like negative tone and like really bad experience. And if you watched it, you'd probably be like, well, this guy's a shithead. I'm never watching him again. But people have bad days and whatever, they lose control, get too emotional. But lately, like for the second half of 2013, for the most part, my stream has been pretty awesome, really good attitude, and yeah. So if you were turned off before, you should come check it out again. And I think it's actually a chill stream now. That used to be
Oh, wow.
ironic because I
We're
would
back to chill
rage
status.
and shit, but now
False
it's actually
advertising.
pretty chill.
Also, why is your stream title playing with two hands? What?
Oh, because the day before I was playing one-handed.
Oh,
Oh my god, you played a whole day one-handed?
I played like 7 games.
what was
I
the other
played
hand
Destiny
doing?
twice, and I don't think he knew that I was playing one-handed. He beat me twice, and I don't think he knew. And then the next day I
Oh,
played him,
no.
and I played two-handed. I destroyed him.
Oh God.
Sure thing, Tyler. It sounds like an excuse to me, if anything. Fucking
That's over at twitch.tv/Nony, Nony, in case anyone is wondering. The last check-in we'll check in with Sean as well when he gets here. But Wheat, you did a shit ton of traveling this year. You're casting a ton of events. You've been grounded now for about a month. Are you going to pick it back up again in 2014 right away, or what's the plan?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed taking it a little bit easy this year, and obviously, like WCS really helped with that. MLG not doing StarCraft 2 events really kind of helped with that. But I didn't mind it at all. Like, a lot of people might have the misconception that casting and shows is sort of the number one place where I make my money, but it's actually Twitch. And so I've gotten a lot of opportunity to spend more time focusing on Twitch related stuff, which has been, it's really good. I like it. It's very challenging. It's a very engaging company to work for. And so I've really enjoyed that. I mean, I love casting. I've been doing a lot of personal streaming as well. Just whatever, playing StarCraft 2, playing Dota, playing just whatever the fuck, and that's been fun. So I think I mean, assuming that WCS is going to continue to go the route that it's going, like as far as those types of events, I think I'll get to take it easy in 2014.
Okay.
Wheat, I read the internet and I wanted you to give it. I wanted to have you give a
Oh,
chance.
awesome!
Yeah,
What'd the
I wanted
internet
to
tell you,
settle-
Jeff?
Well, there's this raging debate on there. People are undecided as to whether or not you hate LOL or you hate StarCraft 2 and are trying to sell out to LOL. So if you could
Oh, okay.
clear the air, I mean, what is your, did you sell out or do you hate LOL? Where is that?
I mean, I haven't really sold out to anyone, Jeff.
Okay.
I'm
Well, other
thinking
than
about
you,
it.
yeah.
Like I've been thinking. There's a couple indie games that I really like. Sean's new game. I'm thinking about totally selling out to him on that. No, not at all. I think it's funny because people are like, yeah, that we, doesn't play that StarCraft 2. I'm like, man, you can stop by my stream whenever and probably find me raging on ladder. I do it pretty regularly. So. I don't know. I was just talking about this the other day that like regardless of what games I play, there's just something about winning and losing in StarCraft 2 that makes me always go back to it. So, I'll leave it at that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Take that, internet. We'll use
I
that.
don't know if that even answered the question. No, I don't hate League. I've been playing a lot of Dota too, though. Feel like I'm walking the same line as Idra. He really likes
That's
that.
a dangerous line
What?
to
Yeah.
walk.
What is that line? What's the line?
So,
that Greg
because
walks?
he really likes Dota too. Like,
I think you could describe that line better than the line that Idra walks. Then probably.
Oh, okay. Oh, fuck. Rewind. I take it back. What about you, Jeff? Though I read the internet one time,
Mhm.
and they said
Uh-oh.
that like you just don't even acknowledge that any game outside of StarCraft 2 even.
Ah, shit, son. Yeah, no, I mean, 2014. I'm going to try to get involved in other games. So I'll be. You and I can. I mean, actually, JP he did that too. I heard he sold out big time and
Yeah.
hates StarCraft now.
Yeah, fuck
but,
StarCraft 2.
uh,
I don't even acknowledge the new one's out. This is a StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty stream. It's not even Heart of
Right.
the Swarm stream.
No, I'm gonna get involved in other games too. I'm gonna probably check out Heroes of the Storm and I really like watching Dota. The thing that intimidates me about Dota is I feel like unless you spend a significant amount of time with it, I feel like it's StarCraft. Like you can't go just very part-time StarCraft and then commentate and be around the scene as high as I would want to anyways. And I think that's the same for Dota. Like I really enjoy watching it. I haven't played it, but I imagine I would enjoy playing it. But I probably, if I ever do, I don't know, something will have to change because I think you have to spend a lot of time with it to do it justice.
A lot of
I
time.
guess.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to do it half-assed. I wouldn't want to just hop on, suck complete ass, and then be like, okay, that's it for Dota today. I'm going to hop back on to start. Like I don't enjoy that. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody does.
Oh man. You also, Jeff, are you going to be streaming any of the console stuff? Because I think you have both consoles now. Is that correct? Both new ones.
You know, one of these days I'm going to annoy you and or somehow learn something for my own good. But apparently the PS4 just has it built in, like the streaming service, right?
Yeah. I mean, it
I
takes
know
like
that the
2 seconds
Xbox
to
One
set up.
is. Yeah, eventually the Xbox One is going to have that program downloadable. I think that's what they planned on doing. But
Yeah.
yes, I will. I don't play a lot of console stuff, but like I'm level 30 or something in Call of Duty, and I enjoy blowing people's faces off and stuff. So I play some games. I'll probably end up streaming it just because some people would like watching that shit.
That'd be a lot.
It's so funny playing Call of Duty. Like Anna will stop by and someone will be like, "I hate you, you faggot, fuck, shit," and they sound just like that. And then the other guy's like, "Your mama sucks a dick, bitch." And I'm just like, "Oh, all right, let's mute everybody because nobody's saying anything I want to hear." And then my favorite's when a girl wanders in. She's like, "How's everyone doing?" And then everyone's like, "Yo, bitch, make me a sandwich, and I want to have sex with you." And she's like, "Oh, stop! Don't! You're such a dick! Oh my God! And your score is 7-15." And he's like, "Well, fuck. Check my score next game, bitch." And then he goes like, he goes 10-8, and he's like, "What now?" You know, and it's like, oh.
God. That was
You walk
perfect.
that line of like, you don't want to hear anything they're saying, but you don't mute them just yet because you think they might be even more ridiculous. You're like, wow,
Oh my god.
so bad. Xbox One is worse than Twitch chat, I want to say. Or not one, excuse me. Xbox Live
Yeah.
might be worse than Twitch chat.
Is it bad on it? Like, did all of those did it move over to Xbox One? Because they have to have.
It's
Let's
the
just
same.
not talk
Xbox-
about StarCraft
Xbox
at all.
Live, Xbox Live it's cross. It doesn't matter.
Right. But they have like a reputation system now, and so like if you're in a good
good.
rep, yeah, then you're not supposed to meet those people online.
Well, I don't even turn on the voice thing. Like I don't say shit on Xbox Live. I just play the games. If you can
Oh man, that's
imagine.
why you got a bad rep. You got to like communicate with your teammates.
God. So I hear all this
They're
shit
just
every time.
drilling you down.
Yeah.
drilling you
And I'm like a classic StarCraft nerd in the sense that I have no idea how to work technology at all. So like when they start talking shit like this and I'm in the middle of a game, I'm like, how do I confangle beat these kids? Do I hit the Xbox button? Okay, here I am. And there it is. Mute you. Okay, nope. Turning it on the volume. Like I don't know how to do it, so it's really
Great.
bad.
I've got a question. This is kind of a tangent, but it's
Let's
not
do it.
something Jeff just said. This is for the whole panel.
Thank you, Tyler. We'll
Take me
address
seriously for a
panel will
second.
address your question. Let's go.
No, but Jeff said worse than Twitch chat. We all know Twitch chat has a terrible reputation, right? And yet it's like a universally good thing for a streamer to read their own Twitch chat.
I know. Yeah.
Somebody who would never in a million years read any other Twitch chat, they feel obligated to read their own Twitch chat. Now, usually I have a pretty small crowd, like under 1,000, and my Twitch chat stays pretty civil. But for people with 1,000 plus, I think that's around the threshold. And the more trolly you are, the more trolls you're going to attract. So some of the smaller streamers can have problems anyway. But is it kind of weird that like everybody recognizes Twitch chat is so shit, but then the value of reading Twitch chat and interacting with your chat is placed so high? Is this not some kind of contradiction?
It's a test of metal, man. Like, I actually can't relate to well, in the sense that with my own chat, I've actually been treating that like a fucking dictatorship state since the very beginning. Like, people were walking like,
I remember.
man, Jeff played that game pretty shitty. Ban the fuck out of that guy. He's so gone.
I remember when I first gave you mod during State of the Game, and I was like, Jeff, come on, bro, stop reading the fucking chat, stop banning people.
Because I just fire burn it all. It's like just brrr, just Tommy gun burn it. But what ends up happening is that I do, on a good day, I get my like 3,000 people or whatever, and that's about the threshold of when people, it just goes crazy. Like, I've walked into Greg's chat, I've looked at Destiny's chat, and I've been like,
have you ever
holy
seen
God.
Crip's chat?
No, I don't.
Kriparian's chat is insanity levels.
But the thing is, to Tyler's point, I don't like that. See, I like that, as Tyler said, we're supposed to look at our chat, and I can pick out good questions. I hate losing a game, queuing up the next one, looking at my chat, and seeing the conversation revolving around, is Jeff fat? Would you have sex with his wife? And shouldn't he quit by now because he's a terrible player? And I'm just like, well,
hey! I think I came in at the perfect time.
I treat my chat like it's my home, so like I don't like if people talk that way, I'm just like, nope, ban them all, get them all.
Chat Utopia.
Chat Utopia, dude. Okay, so I'll actually just immediately step in because now I know the context and just say this is exactly why all my shows are on subscriber-only chat, always, 100%. It's
and you
so
get hate for that too, or used to at least at the beginning. It's interesting. People don't like that.
Hate.
I've seen people say like whenever like a league switches to subscriber only, that becomes a thread topic sometimes. People are like, I don't know about you, but I stopped watching. I couldn't enjoy it. I need to be able to post in the chat. And it's
Jeff,
like, what?
In the fighting game community, it's like single-handedly sold tickets because people want to be stream monsters. So it's like they are straight up okay spending that, $8.95 or whatever it is to basically be a stream monster for the weekend. Of course, that's a little bit different because they really embrace the shit out of the Twitch chat. But I mean, it still happens, right? I mean, people will be like, "Cool, I will now just gladly subscribe so that I can partake as a stream monster."
It's weird.
Yeah.
Keep talking. I'm adjusting webcams. Keep this going.
I can count on one hand the times that I've posted in a chat, and it's been like, they start talking about me, and I'm like, hey, I'm here. And they're like, oh, hey, Control's here. Anyways, yeah, I think he should quit. And it's like, oh, okay. Or like we're doing role play or something like that. And I'll be like, this one's for you guys. Like, I don't know. To each their own, though. I'm not trying to hate on it. Like, I know that people really enjoy that. But it's funny because a lot of times the people that openly complain about not being able to post in chats are the ones on that name, Day9 died in a car accident. And they're the one like sitting there just spouting lies. And it's like, shit, I don't want you in my chat. Well,
yeah, that actually got to the point where someone like contacted a personal friend of mine and informed them that I had died.
Really?
To the point where the person called me crying and was so relieved that I was actually alive. And I think it's kind of like broadly I get the idea of like typing in chat like, oh, Day9's dead. Like when JP and I were playing.
With a flourish. Welcome back, guys. Sean Crash XSplit. That's what he does best. I don't even... What were you guys talking? Oh, we were talking about how shitty Twitch chat is. A good topic.
No, it's great, but it is shitty. I mean, because as a tool, like, let's be real. I mean, can I really like? Back in my day when we just used Shoutcast,
ICQ,
we
AOL Instant
would
Messenger.
sync our Nullsoft shoutcast with an IRC channel, and you would follow along, and there'd be 100 people, right, like listening, so there'd be like 25 active in chat. Like, this is something that's been around for a long time, but I don't think anyone could have guessed that when the numbers reach 30,000, what will happen, don't you? Like, I mean, we should have known. We should have seen this coming from a million miles away. But the fact that everyone has sort of embraced it, like, I think it's fucking awesome. Like, I can't imagine streaming without it.
Of course.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think
no,
anyone would
I-
argue to do away with it. It's just
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's like 80% of it I like. Like, for instance, like the subscriber only chat and Day Night TV, it's amazing. Oh, like, and I don't care how horrible a day I'm having. If I put on sub only chat, those are the nicest humans in
are.
the universe. The Day Nights are just so nice. I go to my chat at like 12 a.m. and just hang out because people are just there being nice. It's really great. And I also am a huge fan of 40,000 plus person stream chats. I like that sort of chaos. The amount of dongers streaming upward is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Some substantive amount of dongers.
Yeah, I've actually been quite entertained. For a while, when I was taking a break from StarCraft 2, I watched a ton of League, and I wouldn't maximize it, so the stream chat was always there. And I was watching what's his name? Cutie Pie or something like that, the Dignitas player
He's
who
awesome.
started the Heimerdonger
Right.
and all that shit. I was there during that stream, like when that play happened with Heimerdinger, and I was watching Cutie Pie for so long after that, and so many of these League streamers, and like I admit, like it was fun and entertaining watching just like the most childish, stupid shit happen in chat. Like, you have to embrace it. But I think, like, and Sean didn't hear how I started this conversation, but the weird thing is like, to me, unless you're doing like the subscriber only mode and you have like a tight knit community that's nice and good, if you are doing the opposite of that and having the wild, so many chatters, everybody going crazy shit, it's not. It's fucking just silly fun, and so it's not like a high value of interacting with those people. Like, I'm not going to say that they're all idiots for having fun because I joined them. I was one of those idiots. But like, at the same time, you can't just like look at a streamer who has a chat that is going wild like that and say, "Oh, he's bad because he doesn't interact with his chat," or something like that. Because then it's not about like interacting with your fans. Your chat has transformed into something else. It's transformed into just like senseless fun and like childish, immature games and shit, which is fine for fun, but then you can no longer judge the streamer on how interactive they are with their chat, because you can't interact with it. Either you join in and you're just dicking around, or you go on with the business of your stream, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, there's so much interesting like range of like what a chat can be, because I mean, if there's like 40,000 people and there's insanity going on, you don't even have time to see craziness, right? It's just it's a crowd. It's the text form of a crowd. Crowds are great, as is a group of like 10 people in a room having a conversation. It's like a very small private version of a chat, but it's kind of crazy to see how wide of a range you can have with just something simple like just turning on chat.
See, I took the chaos approach to this, and I think it was Friday morning maybe. It went on for almost 48 hours, but I mass unbanned everything in my chat, and it was over like 25,000 people or something like that, which I'm sure Jeff has about 5,000 of those from State of the Game.
probably.
Maybe a little bit more. But now the chat's actually just in chaos mode. The mods hate me for it, but it's fun. I think it fits and makes sense for State of the Game. And then all those people just get banned again. So
Of course.
Got to reset it once a year, man.
yeah, I think that's going to become a very normal thing to do here. So well, let's actually talk about StarCraft, because I promised people we would, unfortunately. But
God damn it.
What a disappointment.
What a
Who plays that game?
disappointment. I think last time we did a show, we talked a lot about WCS, and now the year's over. We've seen the end of it, and we've heard a little bit about 2014. I'm sure people behind the scenes have heard a lot more. I think the question I'm going to ask and pose, as Tyler expertly said, to the panel is, did WCS have a positive or negative impact on StarCraft 2 as a whole? And whoever wants to jump in first, I won't throw to any singular person. We'll just let that sit, and you guys can jump in whenever.
I'll say it's kind of neutral. Like, I didn't see huge improvements, but if I'm trying to imagine a world without WCS, and would that have been so much better for StarCraft? Especially in the context of Dota 2 and League really blowing up. I can't really imagine StarCraft being in that much better of a situation without WCS. WCS didn't come in and say, this is how you run a StarCraft league. We're the awesomest, bestest thing ever. They have a lot of things to improve, but it kind of just seemed, neutral.
Yeah, I like.
Go ahead, Dan, Sean.
Here I come. Thank you, Jeff. Very generous of you. I think that it was like on the positive side. But I think that like what Tyler's talking about with like the neutral, I think that I liked the structure of it. I liked being able to say this guy won WCS season 1, and to have someone who only started watching StarCraft at the end of season 2 get approximately what that means. Like I know what Asus ROG Winter means, but in the time when it was a different tournament every single weekend, I'd be like, this guy got top 3 at the Asus ROG tournament, and that's a lot harder to understand unless you really know the space. If you're at a DreamHack, an upcoming MLG, and previously, the Asus ROG, it's a little bit cleaner and clearer. I think the big downsides were a lot of what they've been trying to address for WCS 2014, like the Grand Slam at the end of each season. I think was weirdly negative in a lot of ways. Where it was like, Duck won Europe, and he cried. Thank God he cried. I love emotion. And then he just got knocked out of season 2, and everyone's like, bummer. And Duck's like, guys, I won Europe season 2. Please remember me. We didn't get a time to celebrate him for long enough.
I think what's interesting about this question, and I guess I would call this building on both their points, because I agree with what they said, but what I think is interesting about it is that it's hard to answer in the sense that if you take WCS out, we're of course dealing in the hypothetical, but we don't know what would have happened then. Would MLG still be in the space? Would NASL be a weekend tournament event that throws their weekend events that people attend? I still think obviously IPL is gone because that had nothing to do with StarCraft. That was all management on their side. What does BlizzCon look like? How big of a deal is StarCraft 2 there? Is it kind of the Nesty MVP repeat, or is it a season-end big tournament like Sean's talking about? So I think it's hard to answer in that sense, but I think the other thing that makes it hard that I find interesting is that the fanboy in me, the infinite loyalist to Blizzard and to StarCraft, probably more StarCraft than even Blizzard, wants to just leap out and say, yes, absolutely. They put a bunch of money, they ran tournaments, they spread out significance. But I can't in good conscience do that. I have to be honest with you. I feel like a lot of what Sean talked about can be elaborated on and said that because there were so many tournaments, it diminished the achievement of winning a season finale. That's kind of that duck effect that he was talking about. Like someone would win. Well, okay, that was them getting a seed into the tournament that's the next weekend. That's the actual Grand Slam final. Like that was insane. And then this thing that I've been harping on a lot, it's never been worse to stream StarCraft 2 than it has been in 2013. And that's not me bitching for any personal self-gain. That's being quite honest. Like, your Grubbies, your Idras, Stefano of old. Of course, he stepped back this past year. But the big streams, the Muslims and stuff like that, guys that were getting these numbers that hung in there with your Dota players, clearly not the LoL guys, but still was some of the bigger streams on Twitch. They didn't have space to average or to stream to, and they didn't have the interest in the energy of the audience because they just got done watching 100,000 hours of 3 tournaments over the course of the last 3 weeks. It was really hard for the pro gamer to find sustainability in WCS because you were either doing really well in WCS, in which case you were doing great, or you weren't, in which case you were probably retiring or becoming obsolete. And that is a brutal up and down. So my definitive answer would be kind of in line with Tyler's, where I'd say, I don't know, it's kind of neutral. But I think it's an interesting discussion because I think someone could make a really good case for it wasn't good, it was bad. And I think that's an incredible thing to say.
That's actually a really interesting thing you bring up, because I think that as much as people throw around the term pro gamer, it's real fucking hard to make money doing pro gaming.
Yeah.
Like, being on a team, as much as it's easy to view that as like a career style job where, I'm on a team, so I must get paid a stable salary. I'd say probably even as high as like 80% of people who are on a team actually must stream or must coach as a supplementary income to be able to support that. And I don't know how to sort of resolve that issue. I mean, obviously WCS says that if you get into the top 16 or top 32, you get a certain amount of money that actually does justify you being pro for the next 3 months. But I think, like you say, it's there needs to be some way to also help support the streaming side of things, because I think that streaming is the strongest form of stability that pro gaming has had in the last 2 decades.
And that's what I become excited about next year, because I think they're starting to do that. I think the scene does do well to have a Blizzard-backed scene where big tournaments are being put on by them, but there's still enough room for other tournaments to have a weekend to themselves. The seasons are spaced out a little bit. They're not going to emphasize showing the B League as much, so that there's not as much WCS going on. And then if you are a pro gamer on a team that's not paying you a life-sustaining salary, you can supplement it with things like you just talked about, like streaming and coaching and whatnot. And it's so funny. I mean, you see people in here in the chat too. They're just like, yeah, in other words, you're not good enough to, if you're not winning, you know, you're not making enough money to be a pro gamer. And that attitude is so tough to see, because it's like, I see pro gamers retiring right and left, and people are like, oh, what a shame. Oh, that sucks. Oh, the scene's dying. But then when we talk about, like, this is what pro gamers have to do to make a living for themselves, people hate on that mentality. And it's enough to speak to it, by the way. I'm not just picking out, like, the 1 or 2 out of 100. It's like, this mentality is on the boards. People really hate on the idea that if you don't win, you can't sustain yourself. But guys, that's been StarCraft since the very beginning. No one, I mean, like, there's a handful of people that win enough to live off of. Everybody else has to find other ways to do it.
I will add this too to what I originally said. I think after Sean spoke, I would say that it's a step, or at least some baby steps in the right direction. That is 2013 WCS, but you can only start this kind of thing once. Like, a company like Blizzard, you know, who owns the game, can step in and say, all right, we're running the show. It's going to be this huge league. This is going to be it. Everything else is kind of peripheral. This is how it's going to be now. You only get to start that once, and they didn't knock it out of the park in 2013. So even if they took steps in a positive direction, and 2013 itself was good, if we're really going to judge WCS 2013 overall, you have to say, they don't get another shot at this. Yes, they can improve over the years, but as far as like capturing an audience immediately, you know, before StarCraft 2 bleeds any more fans over to other games, and like saying, hey, StarCraft's an awesome game. This is how we're going to present it to you so you can enjoy it. Stick with us, and then let's slowly build from there. Kind of missed the mark there, and, you know, we kept bleeding throughout 2013 with WCS going on. So, you know, it would have been incredible for them to just knock it out of the park immediately. That's a really high standard to set, but you know, if it could, we've missed our chance, I guess I would say, to like you know, just kind of to really establish StarCraft 2 as an esport. Anybody who watched WCS and was kind of disappointed might have already bled over to another game, and now that chance is gone. That fan has moved on.
I think Noni nails it a little bit. I mean, you only get that one chance, and even look at, like, well, we had the StarCraft Olympics at first, where it really was region based, and then it went into sort of the, you know, this WCS format. And even you look at what they've done from 2013, 2014, and that, you know, I think I thought they were fucking crazy when they were like, yeah, we're doing 3 seasons this year and we're gonna do 4 next year. I'm like, you know, that just automatically, that seems like you're biting off just a little bit more than not only you could chew, but that we can consume as fans as well, or as, you know, as players, I'm sure, to be able to play. And so that's the one part that I wish that everything wasn't so dictated by those kind of strict timelines. And I do feel like, because of exactly what you're talking about, Noni, where it's like they wanted to hit the timing. And they wanted to get it right in there, and so they could do these and do the 3. And I appreciate, I'm with you guys, like, it definitely helped in some areas and sort of, you know, hindered, maybe neutered some areas. But you can't you don't get a do-over on that, and that's the scariest part of it. I'm definitely glad they're doing 3 seasons this year, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, in a certain extent, I feel like the last month has made me feel a lot just better. I mean, obviously, the announcement of the WCS 2014 that took into account so much of what was an issue in 2013 and said, okay, we're going to work on it. And you know what we got to see in the last month? WCS was done for the year. We got to see other one-weekend style tournaments successfully. And I think that one of the coolest things of all was the Scarlet versus Naniwa show match that happened just recently.
Yesterday.
There's enough time
Yeah.
to be able to do that in a way that I'm like, oh my God, I gotta see. I had to get on a plane and I was blowing through all the data watching on my phone because I was like, yeah, this is awesome, right? Like, and to me, the idea of putting the entire onus on Blizzard, I mean, last month has shown that there's enough interest there for parties to sort of still create content valuably and support and sustain. And I like the idea of a WCS being an organizing component. I don't like the idea of it being the central only thing that you can ever do. And if you don't qualify for WCS, you disappear from pro gaming completely. So I feel a lot of optimism for 2014, especially given the fact that they've intentionally said, no, we want to make sure there's like a lot of space for other tournaments. Because as far as I'm concerned, if a show match like Naniwa vs. Scarlet still garners interest, that's all that matters. It's the only thing that really matters in my eyes. Because, for me, that's awesome. That kicks ass. I just made that statement devoid of any structure of tournament, laddering, anything. That's just a thing I want to see. So, I mean, I guess I'll just say I've been feeling the hype as of late.
Do you think that, I mean, I guess the counter to that is, like, is that enough? Like, can StarCraft 2, and maybe survive is a little bit harsh of a word, but a year from now, will that hype still be there? Will StarCraft 2, with WCS still coming in, and maybe next year around this time it'll die down, all the hype from that has died down. Is StarCraft 2
I think if they didn't change things, if they kept it the same model, obviously I still think the word die would be too strong of a word, but I do think it would start to really have adverse effects. I think we'd have a lot more retiring than what is healthy. Like, retiring is always natural, and I've always said that with StarCraft not being the #1 game, I do feel like the game was always going to have to start trimming the fat. But it would get to the point where a guy would look at the next year and say, well, I can't rely on streaming to earn money. If I do well in WCS, I can earn money to live. But I've got Koreans in my region, and that's not a really good prospect, as this past year has shown for foreigners. So I probably should start doing the realistic thing and move away to a different game. And then you'd have young talent looking at the same thing, only it's even more lopsided, and they're like, well, I'm not getting involved in that. So with this next year, one less season, they're spreading out the prize pool a little bit too. That didn't get nearly as much of the limelight, but I think it's like $5,000 more, but it's spread out between the top 32 better or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But the idea here is that they're going to try to allow for breathing room, is the term that's being used, and then also they're trying to support more people.
I'm of the opinion that, like, the future success and the hype just has to do with the game, not the tournaments. The tournaments are all like the bonus on top. That's like the restaurant with the really amazing service, but you still just have to serve really good food. As far as I'm concerned, if the gameplay continues to be deep, with things like new maps being rotated in, players having new takes on strategies, things like that. Like, I mean, I think I said this in like 2000 and whenever we started the State of the Game, like whatever the first episode was, like, you know what would be cool? A map where there's bridges that every 2 minutes they raise and nothing can pass, and then every other 2 minutes they're lowered so things can move across. You can do that in the StarCraft map editor. It works really well. I mean, hell, we built Trials of the Xel'Naga in the StarCraft 2 map editor, and that thing was fucking insane. Like, why can't you just have some slightly more creative elements? Because you know what? I loved watching a gold mineral map be on Habitation Station. Like, it led to some really cool strategies. Now, balance aside, I enjoyed watching those games and going, oh shit, is he Tempest rushing? Is that a thing? And I just, like, that was some of the most stimulated my brain has been with StarCraft recently. Suppose in 3 months they threw Habitation Station out because it was solved and it was imbalanced. cool, bring in another imbalanced, unfair map that's insane for season 2. Like, I mean, the tournament structure is great, but it's all gameplay to me.
I'm actually 100% behind Sean in this. I mean, who can argue that there's not another skill underneath the layer of amazing skill that every StarCraft player has, and that's just the ability to adapt to something like that. And I feel like I've said this for years, but I would love it just to be like, yep, tournament, boom, map. You know what? It might get vetoed out, but yeah, I think that would be nice. I know a lot of people are immediately like, dude, you need like fucking 10 billion games on this map before we can even start talking about balance. But it's like, well,
no,
shit.
Fuck balance. No, I want imbalanced map. I want a map that favors Protoss heavily, as people would think. And then to have a Zerg player come along and best the map and best his opponent and be like, oh my god,
Sure.
Zerg player, next Bonjour. Because no big deal, next season there's going to be some maps that after a while people are like, Jesus, Terran, dominate these maps. I want that. That's cool. I don't need perfect, huge maps with an easy to take natural expansion in a third. Like, give me a natural expansion with one geyser. What's my strategy there? What are those going to be? And obviously, if you just make sure that there's no stupid cheese that dominates, like if cannon rushing is the only correct strategy on the map, that's a problem. But throw some insane shit that could be imbalanced with the knowledge that it will go out if it's too strong.
So we've got the commentators, Sean and Marcus here talking about this. What do the players think with Tyler and Jeff? How do you guys... Is that even something that in the farthest reaches of your mind should happen?
Bring back Paranoid
It
Android.
kind of did happen in Brood War.
Towards the end, right? They had some crazy
There
shit.
were one-season maps that they played it for a season, and like 2 weeks into the season, everyone's like, this map's fucking terrible. And then you had to sit through for the rest of the season, and then when the announcement came for what maps were changing,
Did you think
nobody
that was a
was
good thing, Tyler?
surprised. Well, considering the fact that Kespa kept things interesting with maps, I'm not saying that thing in particular is bad, but the system, that's like a side effect of a good system. It's something, it's a negative thing that you can't eliminate, but you have to put up with because it's a net gain for keeping things interesting.
Check for the
And over
shout-outs
time-
at the end of the show because Tyler has sold out. This guy, I don't believe anything he's saying right now. He's
No,
like,
well,
back
let me
then, this happened. Is that a good thing? Well, good thing is such a weird term. You have to weigh it in terms of,
As a
you know,
philosophy major.
can I finish?
I was going to go to law school, so this is
I
in my
know, I
future
can
a little
sense
bit,
it.
but
I'll say it. No, it's not a popular idea with players. They don't like the idea of, well, shit. I'll tell you, I played an MLG with test bug in it. Like, I was so sad, but I was thankful we had a map veto so that I could at least be like, well, thank you, MLG. Now I can use my map veto every single round to never touch that map, but now I don't have the advantage of being able to dynamically choose because that map was just so bad for Protoss. I agree with the sentiment that we should shake up the map pool. I like what Day9's talking about in the sense that, like, you know, do crazy things. But I would be like Sean's assistant in 10-year future when he's an even bigger deal, and be like, Sean, shut the fuck up. Like, that's you're way overboard right now. That's too much. Like say you want it to change. Don't go crazy and fucking say you want imbalance. That's a stupid thing to say. Like right now, somewhere on the planet, Greg is actually taking a voodoo doll of you, and he's just skull fucking it with both his fingers. He just ran them right up into your eye sockets because he wants you to die. Because map pools should try to be balanced. They should change up for the entertainment value, but they should not be like, well, fuck it. It's island maps again, guys, with one gas. Hooray for Terran!
Okay. So I'm not advocating. You know what? We need to think less and be dumb more. You know what? Let's have you start out with no minerals. Who has the best workers? Isn't that fascinating? I'm not going for that, right? I'm going for something where, because what I see in math, let's begin with a couple of principles that we shouldn't ever question, ever. I mean, for instance, if I said, let's begin by saying we have a natural expansion that has one gas. What are some things that we would need to put in there to create some semblance of balance and to at least try and that sort of thing? And I think that there's not enough of that. And I think that occasionally there will be what Tyler says, where there's a map that just sucks. But I'm definitely saying I am willing to embrace the possibility that we'd have a season with a map that can't be denied. It's imbalanced. I'm happy to accept that devil to bring in some fresh, juicy stuff because you know what? Most Protosses can still go 3-base Turtle versus Zerg and do a big push and never learn a new thing. Ever. Like you can do that. And you know what that does to me? That turns my brain off. When I
Three-base
see
Turtle
it-
will be breaking the meta rate, though, right now. It's like for the last 8 months, it's been 2 bases, maybe a third to just trick them, said Stardust, and then you just all in anyways.
I'm not talking about what's good or bad. I'm not talking about what's in the meta at the strongest highest level. I'm saying that you can do the same thing on 95% of maps. And an
Sure.
example of that is a 3-base Turtle style PVZ. You might not hit #1 Grandmaster and win yourself GSLs, but Grandmaster in North America. So, like
Well, I
great.
think the idea would be to make a map that is as standard as possible in every other facet, except that it purposely subverts like the most common strategy. Like a 2-base timing or 3-base turtle are the two Protoss strategies of choice. So if you were trying to make a map that was going to subvert those things, then some particular aspect of that map would screw up that path. And it's not necessarily saying that's going to be imbalanced for Protoss. It's saying do something else, you fucker. Like that's what it's saying.
I agree with that. I don't think every map should be a
in the end,
daybreak or
it's
something
only
like that.
it's only going to be the reason players wouldn't like it ultimately is because it's higher variance, and players don't like that high variance shit. Players want the player who's more skilled, whatever that means at that moment, to win the game every time. And if sometimes they lose, even though they outplayed their opponent, because the map that they were playing on happened to be imbalanced, but people didn't really know that yet because it was a new map with something weird about it, well, then yeah, you got screwed over that time. But in the long term, that's gonna favor you at some point. Hopefully, I mean, some players are gonna get the short end of the stick, but ultimately, it's just gonna be like a higher variance thing. But if that's
You know what?
gonna
While we're
be
being ridiculous, by
necessary,
the way,
then
While we're being ridiculous, let's just do this. Here's the closest I come to really agreeing with like the purified essence of what you guys are saying.
And then we'll change
I think-
topics after this.
I
but
think in
continue.
general, StarCraft 2 players are really boring because we've had these imbalanced maps and they respond really boring. Like we haven't had what Sean's talking about where that like guy comes out with this awesome strategy that's cultivated for the map. I mean, it's happened, of course. I'm not saying it's never happened, but in general, players like they look at the map and they're just like, oh, okay, this is not a very good macro map. I guess I'll do that Blink Stalker all-in I've been doing for 4 years. Like, so if you do like this crazy map pool change thing, I think it's speaking specifically almost for the Protoss players, but even Terran players, they've been doing the same thing since the fucking beginning of beta, like for Wings of Liberty, that it's just the same. StarCraft players in StarCraft 2 haven't been that like ace up the sleeve map like whole strategy. You know what I mean? Like in Brood War, there was very map specific strategies that people sat around and protected. Like if that replay got out, the guy that leaked it was then summarily shot behind the pro gaming house. But in StarCraft 2, people are like, oh, okay, I don't really know this map. I didn't really practice it, so I guess I'll just do my Blink all in. Or if they're Terran, they're like, they don't even have that thought process because they're already doing Marine Marauder medevac. Like that was just, someone's like, hey, what strategy on this map? And they were like, they're like, what did you ask? And they're like, what are you doing on that map? And they're like, is that a thing? We do different builds on other maps? What are you getting at right now? And they're like,
I already
So
told
you
you I was
think-
playing Terran.
You think no new maps could resolve that issue?
I'm being pessimistic and I'm being very vague. Like there are people that do these things. My point is the vast majority of people, like if you instituted these maps in a tournament, I don't know that you would see a huge upswing in crazy strats. What you would probably see is a lot of really boring, regurgitated builds that people didn't put a lot of thought into being used because they didn't put a lot of thought into it. Boom.
Boom.
I could see that.
And like I said, that's really negative, and I'm not even drunk, so I don't know.
You're saying I think too
Christmas
highly
needs
of
to
players.
What's that?
Yeah. You're saying I think too highly of players.
Right now I'm thinking lowly of players, so
You are. You're
Yeah.
a son of a bitch.
He's just thinking vaguely of them, okay?
Vaguely.
Let's keep up the
Pessimistic.
thinking lowly of players here. No foreigner won a major this year. As far as is that 100% accurate?
People were saying Snoot won Home Story Cup.
Oh,
so
okay, that's true. Okay, so
it's
so
a
one-
question of whether or not you call Home Story Cup a major. And
Right. I guess I'll ask what's the biggest reason for that? Is this just what happens as StarCraft 2 gets
More
older?
Koreans.
More Koreans come in the scene and less foreigners?
More Koreans
Wait.
and they're getting better. Like
Yeah,
Pro League has sat in now, and there's more better Koreans.
There
going
was like the elephant in the room article, you know, and that I think that gave the impression that everybody who thought that Koreans were gonna dominate, that the article gave the impression that it was gonna be like very swift and quick. But I think everyone, at least most people I know, have observed, and what we observed in Brood War was that it was pretty gradual. And for the early life of StarCraft and StarCraft Brood War, it was pretty even, and you had your foreigner heroes that went over there. You had Guillaume, and you had Elki, and even before that, there were a whole lot more foreign. They were the last couple to really be awesome. But what we observed was that when the Koreans kind of have their own community and they only play against other Koreans, then that the gap in skill slowly but surely, very surely, widens. And by the time you got to like 2006 and later, it was Koreans won everything all the time. And so it took a couple years, and I think that's what we're seeing with StarCraft 2 as well. The only thing that'll keep the gap closer is if foreigners keep competing with Koreans as much as they can. It's only when they isolate when all the best players in the world only play each other and kind of shut out everybody else,
Sure.
like shutting out all the foreigners, that's when you get a problem. But as long as we keep foreigners playing Koreans, I think we can keep the gap as small as possible. But this doesn't surprise me because they're still mostly isolated. Korea is still obviously the place to be. And we got the influx of the Kespa players that really got into their stride this year. And so they took some championships away that they wouldn't have done. So maybe foreigners would have won some of those. But yeah, this just seems kind of inevitable to me.
I like the idea too with forcing people to have X many games on the NA server in particular. So I think hopefully the idea is a lot more Koreans will come over to the NA ladder and improve the quality of it too.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Have talks like that already started, Jeff? And what are they like? How do you entice someone to do that? Just
I think it's in. I think correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I think it's like they must have 200 and some odd wins and be at least master ranked to be in Premier. Division now.
okay. So be a part of WCS, you have to play on that region.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it's either 200 games or 200 wins. It might be 200 games though.
It's really nice.
That's good to hear.
I hope it has the desired effect because I agree fully
Yeah.
with Tyre. You need it's like look at the guys that went to Korea and Girl and Scarlet and then look at their relevant success. Obviously, it's not like a. I wouldn't go as far as I mean, I'm trying to shy away from using the word direct correlation, but I think it is. I think the people that go to Korea do better. So if you can bring Korea here a little bit, and we're competing amidst Koreans on a more active basis, certainly you're not going to see like, well, next year 10 foreigners are going to win tournaments. No, but it will improve the quality of foreigners. I think nobody should be able to argue against that.
Well, in the
It's like-
Naniwa's post-game interview after his show match with Scarlet, he was saying he needs to play Koreans. And I had the same experience with Brood War.
Yeah.
I haven't come close to that skill level in StarCraft 2, but when I went to Korea for Brood War, it was like I can't improve anymore. Like I have like an 80 to 90% win rate against the foreigners that I'm practicing against. And like I have to play better players to improve. Like I can't
Right.
improve anymore. And if you just make me play one of these other players that I never get to practice against in a tournament once a year, they're going to beat me every time. So I definitely feel where Naniwa is coming from. I think it's absolutely true. He really wants to get to Korea. It should be, if the foreign scene does anything for itself to help itself, I think the number one priority should be getting the top talent to Korea if they want to go to Korea. Like the infrastructure for that should be there if they want to do that. I know that kind of subverts WCS because you kind of want the hero of your region to stay in your region, I guess. I don't know, but I think the most talented players that want to go to Korea, we have to get to them to Korea somehow.
Sean, do you want to touch on that? Because I think we've
Well, I mean, there's tons of
past it.
evidence in all sorts of games, from like chess, Go, sports, that it's amount of hours that you train and quality of opponents that you train with,
Sure.
and that's it. I mean, like there's almost like no other magical quality. That's it. So, I mean, I think it's like, as Tyler was saying, it's kind of unfortunate that all the best players are in Korea without exception. So you almost have to either play on the Korean server or be there in Korea directly. But I think that it takes a lot of time to break away from that, because it really is a sort of self-fulfilling cycle where you're like, oh, I'm in North America, I want to be one of the best players ever. Oh my God, I am getting to the point where I'm 80-90% win rate in my region. I go to a tournament, I get smashed by a player who's been training in Korea. And then I'm like, well, where do I go to get the practice? And I try to go on Korea, and I have like a half-second delay time, and I'm like, okay, well, let me just start to play on the North American ladder. And then it's easy again. It's really demotivating. Like, it sounds nice to win 80-90% of your games, but that's only if you have like a full-time job and you're playing the game purely as a thing after work. If you're like training, you hunger for losses. You want to lose, and you want to get pissed, and you want to figure out how to get better. And that only really happens in Korea right now for the absolute best of the best. Nine was spot on. He like needs to be in Korea to improve and maintain his skill level. And it stinks, but I think that over time, pro gaming will, as a whole, evolve to where there will be like team houses in America where a bunch of Korean players are living next to a whole bunch of other team houses where players from other nationalities are also living.
Well, hey, I mean, if it's not like this is a cure, but it's a step in the right direction. But I like the idea of, I don't know, what is it, 15, 20, maybe if you consider the ones that are hopeful of also joining the Premier League, 20 some odd top-tier Koreans playing 200-plus ladder games on the NA ladder when there's already only going to be a top 200 in the GM anyways. So, like, that's a pretty significant portion with a lot of games. And you're just going to be exposed to a higher level of play more often. So, again, it's not like it's not like all of a sudden we're like, we did it, we're Korea, huzzah! And Minigun goes off, and he's like, well, how do you feel after winning your third GSL? And he's like, honestly, I don't have many emotions other than, like anything else. And it's like, okay, cool. But I like the idea of the ladder stepping up a lot more, because that is the primary place where people practice. The next step, of course, is the sustainability, which leads to pro gaming houses or sending people to Korea, like your Nanumas, like your Scarlets, and Sase's and whatnot.
I think it's a good point to take a break here. We'll take a quick 3-minute break, come back. We are going to open up phones towards the end of the show. I think we have about another hour, maybe another hour and 30 minutes left, and still like 2 or 3 more topics to do some conversating about. So when we come back, we will do all that, and we're going to get a refill. You guys should go do the same. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.